Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and basically what I wanted to do is, right now I'm waiting in a car for my brother. I'm in Connecticut visiting family for the holidays, and my brother's flying in from California, so we're waiting for him. So I just figured I'd take the time and just kind of say hi to everybody and give you guys basically the best wishes, because that's what the world needs. And this is what's important about the holiday season. This is our opportunity to really kind of just take a moment, breathe, and spend time with the people who are most important to us in our lives. Because it's those people who are the reason why we try to fight for a better world. Whether you're a libertarian like myself, or a progressive, or a conservative, the reason you care is because you care if the changes you want to happen, that the world will be a better place for the people you care about. Okay, none of us are in this because we actually just have malicious intent for other people, that we want other people to have more horrible lives. We think that the world would be better under X policies or lack of policy or whatever. And I think sometimes we lose touch of that. We lose touch of who we are as individuals, and realizing that we're all just in this to make the world better, and we just focus on sort of the grander, what we view as the consequence of the other person's actions, and then demonize people for it. So we think, well, I think your ideas are bad because of X, Y, and Z, and you're a horrible person for it. And we divide each other up further from that, and we get further away from making any kind of attempt to understand each other. And that's where hate and violence and war comes from, because it all starts with fear. It all starts with the fear that something bad will happen. You fear that this person will do something that will hurt you. Okay, and then what happens is that you start thinking that this bad thing happens because of people in some sort of category. Name a way you want to categorize people. And then people will say, well, people in that group, they're likely to hurt me in this way. And that's bad, and I want to prevent that. And that just over time turns into hate. It's no longer, oh, I'm just doing this to protect myself. It's now just, those people are bad. Okay, but it was rooted in fear. It was rooted in some sort of fear that started at some point. And once that hate takes hold, you're no longer thinking it through. You're no longer, it's just you versus them. And when that happens, that breeds violence, that breeds war, that breeds division, that breeds conflict, that breeds uncertainty. It dismantles the benefits of the market, which benefit more when we are all willing to interact with each other. Doesn't necessarily mean we all have to be on the same page. We could be competing against each other, but we're willing to interact and try and be open to different options and ideas and whatnot. So that way, it basically dismantles many of the benefits that reciprocity brings. Because at the end of the day, that's what free markets are. Free markets are just is just reciprocity on a very large scale, where basically in everything that we do, we're looking for reciprocity, in the sense that I give you something, you give me something, and we're all entering our every interaction with sort of an assumption of reciprocity, an assumption of respect, an assumption of, let's talk, of at least goodwill or good faith. So this is why it's so important for us to try to dissuade fear and break down fear, because that's where it all comes from. And this is why love is so important. This is why I focus so much on positivity and tolerance and forgiveness. Being tolerant or forgiving doesn't make you a libertarian, okay? Being a libertarian just means that you are very skeptical of government solutions and very optimistic on the power of the individual to solve problems. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be nice. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be mean. But me personally, I do feel like things like tolerance, forgiveness, kindness, love breeds the environment where you would have that individual empowered more often, where you basically create the environment where reciprocity can thrive. And that's why I focus so much on the positivity angle. Why it's so important for me to even when I disagree with people, to not burn bridges. Because again, free markets, a free world is a world where bridges are plentiful. Okay, and they only can exist, in my view, when those bridges become plentiful, or at least there's enough of them that there are more bridges than there aren't. So sort of that's That's kind of my thought on that. But that's why the Libertarian Party is, to me, such an important vehicle, because you're creating a network of people who follow or who feel that way, who basically want the world to be more based in reciprocity, more based on a sort of individual, voluntary behavior. And that network effect is important, because when you see people connected to each other, and you see a growing number of people connected to each other with these similar ideas, and then those ideas become more appealing. It's just like social networks. Social networks grow because more and more of your friends are on them, so you decide you want to be part of them. That's one of the appeals of growing the Libertarian Party. It's the one organization that I can think of that you can sit there and say, hey, look, the Libertarians are growing. There are other Libertarian organizations, but unless you are already a Libertarian and know all the ins and outs, you wouldn't know they're Libertarian organizations. So it's not like you can point to something and say, hey, look, this idea is growing, this idea is taking hold, people believe in this. Okay, the growth in the Libertarian Party is a strong signal of that. The network, also the effect we can have in our communities, because if you're in the Libertarian Party and you believe in the political mission, which means to elect Libertarian candidates who can push policy in a Libertarian direction, meaning more hands-off, passing ballot initiatives that can also push policy in the Libertarian direction, and even when you don't have elected people or a ballot initiative to the lobby to campaign around, you can still go to your legislature and lobby the sitting legislators to vote in a more Libertarian direction. So organizing politically has a lot of different angles, and we need to, and different county parties across the country are exploring those angles. But you grow the people who are voting, you grow the people who are campaigning, you grow the people who are donating, volunteering, by building a community. Okay, because at the end of the day, community is what we're fighting for. You're fighting for the people that you care about. So you have to create that network of people you care about. This is why it's important for our county chapters, which many county chapters are doing. But we just, this is where I think the real fruit of what the Libertarian Party can do is, where basically by creating libertarian action in their counties, organizing to either raise or donate food for the local pantry, or to start a local pantry, to build a network, a list of single parents in the area who may want to network with each other to help provide each other with child care and provide each other support, and creating these networks of support that are sort of outside of government, not necessarily purely just to say, hey, it can be done, but to provide that alternative, to give people that choice. And at the same time, you create those networks, those communities that'll suddenly be like, thank you. And that creates sort of the political momentum as well. That creates the votes, that creates the thing. But at the same time, you're already creating the change in the world. And that's the beauty of the Libertarian message. You don't have to wait for someone to get elected. You don't have to wait for a ballot initiative to be passed. You can create Libertarian change today. We do want to elect people, because someone may come up with the next brilliant technological innovation, the next Uber, the next Airbnb, and there's going to be some bureaucrat who's going to want to try to impede the growth of these innovations, slow down the growth of what the world can offer, and you need to have a political voice to speak for them. There's people who are going to be jailed for things that should never have been a crime, and once they are convicted, they can no longer vote. There's no reason Republicans and Democrats would want to speak for them, but Libertarians will, because we speak for everyone. We speak for just what's righteous and good, what is for justice and prosperity, for liberty, for all these things we speak for. We are the voice for those who are silenced. As I said yesterday in a letter to everybody, that as long as the Libertarian Party stands, the silenced will never be silenced. Or the silenced will never be silent, because they'll always at least have a voice with us. Hopefully one day we are a much larger voice. But the fact that there is a voice is a powerful tool, is a powerful thing. And the fact that that voice is growing is a powerful thing. There is a lot of benefit to participating in the Libertarian Party. There is the political aims, but there is the social and cultural aims that we can achieve as well, that basically can be achieved right now, that are being achieved now by many county chapters, by getting involved in their communities, by individuals just being paragons in their community. So, and just trying to, just being a party that isn't trying to play on fear, a party that is trying to be based in the empowerment, the excitement, the optimism of what you can do in your own life when you decide to take action into your own hands, take outcomes into your own hands, and say, you know what? If I can't do things the traditional way, I will find a creative solution. I will innovate to make life the way I want it. That is a powerful message. The message that excites me and gets me excited every day to continue taking that kind of action in my own life. And I just want others to be able to take that kind of action in their lives, because the positive externalities of that are amazing. So that's why I do all this, why I care about all this, and why I'm so excited when I see others working on this and see all those who have worked on this over the last several decades since the Libertarian Party's inception. And again, I understand that the Libertarian movement as a whole is much grander than any one organization within it. But 2018 was a positive year in context. Okay, I know a lot of people were like, well, they want to go from a sizable emerging party to a dominant party overnight. That's not the way it works. You do have to build up from the ground up. That's just the way it works. But technically, 2018 was a year that was not friendly to emerging parties. This was a year that if you were an emerging party, you should have seen reductions in your vote totals. You should have seen rollback, because everyone was because it was a fear-based election. And when people are scared, they're not looking for what's best or what's better. They're just looking for what's less worse. Problem is, if you're always voting for what's less worse, for what's less bad, you're just always kind of slightly slowing. You're still worse, and that's a trend that we want to turn around. But into 2018, we still grew. We still had higher vote totals in many races than we typically did. We still won ballot access in states that we have never won before. There were so many elected people. There was every reason to think that none of that stuff should have happened in the context of 2018 and the nature of the political environment that we were in. But it did happen. The party still grew. It still had record fundraising. It still is moving in the right direction. And that's an amazing thing. And that just breathes hope for what 2019 and 2020 brings. So I'm optimistic. I hope you are. Happy holidays. I'll see you guys in 2019. I'm always putting out some more content. So, the podcast, the YouTube channel, Twitter, just follow all the stuff that I do. You'll hear me just continue to express my opinion about anything, everything, and everything. But yeah, thank you guys for all the kind words over the years, and the fact that you want to listen to anything I have to say is amazing. And I'll continue to do my best to say something that's worth listening to. But just keep believing, keep working, keep fighting, and just keep living the best life that you can. Because at the end of the day, even that is one of the most powerful transformational things you can do. Just living the best life that you can, because it inspires others to live better lives as well. So have a great day and enjoy.